What's up, everybody? Let's go. It's Crypto. Let's go. All right. So we got to look at ETH um, because of what's happening right now. And it's breaking out against Bitcoin and Litecoin. So yeah, I think ETH is right now the best play. We also have a similar descending wedge pattern on the daily that dates back all the way to the low July, so a year ago, and then from the high in October. So crazy that October 10th event. Yeah, really. That is kind of when I got out. I was on the rebound because I remember it happening in 2021. Got out for the most part. Decided some of the other coins were worse, but anyway, we're still clearly in this wedge. So we haven't broken out against USD, and then of course we always want to keep an eye on the 20-week moving average. That's my indicator of a bear and bull market. Exactly. Um, so you can kind of see that it's hovering around the $2,000 area, which isn't too far off, about 10% away. Yeah, and sometimes I like to make it the 21, 20. Doesn't matter too much, but there it is. Anyway, you slice it, about getting above $2,000 would a weekly close above 2,000 would tell me we're in a bullish market for the most part, especially with this slope being so shallow. If it was angled down, it would be less so, but it's not. And I'd be surprised if it's that week. This week, so 5 days, we could definitely touch it. Next week, and then if you're looking at these bars, something like 20 bars. I mean, they're all in these low area anyway. We've lost the high one, so it should be shallowing out, and we'll be able to turn this up, and then I would expect, if we can regain that we could get back into the $4,000 level going into end of year. Let's just say that would not surprise me. Yeah, again, assuming we get some closes above the 20-week moving average, and then on the longer scale, we have this kind of ascending triangle, um, more on a monthly, to be honest. It has some filling in to do, but I think once we hit that 4,000, we could break out of this and then maybe do a double. People think maybe we'll get to, I don't think we'll get to 10,000, but maybe that $7,500 range. Who knows? Who knows? And Tom Lee, we trust. No. So this dates back to 21, so 4.5 years ago. 5 years ago. Actually, 5.5 years ago. So, it's an interesting place to buy if you do think this is an ascending triangle and will break higher. Also, you could just, waiting until it closes above that's always been a good idea. Um, so on the USD pair, it really isn't that exciting yet, to be honest. We haven't broken the downtrend. It could be something just like this where it just rolls over. So we could be in the later stages of this little bounce and roll over. We'll have to see. But as far as being in crypto, I think this is the play right now. Let's go take a look. Here's the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, and we are, as you can see, breaking above the downward channel that we created on the daily from August. So that's going on a year. So this is pretty significant to me. We got to get to close, of course, but that's pretty strong. I think we'll close above this, and I think that if you want to be long something, it's Ethereum's going to be preferable to Bitcoin and anything else. So this is hopefully the beginning of alt season, as they say. So I would expect us to retest this 3.3335 area. It's been pretty strong resistance dating back to 2022, and in a few weeks we could be bumping up against that, and then hopefully we bump up against it a few times before breaking out towards the end of the year, and then maybe getting that $4,000 Ethereum. So that's what I'm seeing there. Let me switch this back to the 200. Okay, there's the 200. We touch it, could we get above it, retest it, something like that. This isn't the greatest Head and Shoulders, but it is kind of action. If we do some measurement here, that could take us up to 0.031 relatively soon as the first target. So that looks interesting. And we'll check it out against, you can flip this, but you can see we're breaking down on the Litecoin ETH chart, which is bullish for Ethereum. We'll see how the day closes. But that again, so there we got ETH beating Bitcoin, ETH beating Litecoin. One of the more stabler coins, in this space, in a way. And then also against XRP, let's look at that. See, this is at the bottom. I got a Head and Shoulders pattern. I could see a little bounce here, so I could see XRP doing all right here for a little bit, but I think this breaks down. Yeah, this almost looks like, reminds me of the Bitcoin chart in 2017, 2018. Where you kind of just around that remember when it was $6,000 and then it broke down. This area, right here. Lower highs in this line. So that's kind of what I'm seeing there out of that XRP ETH. See what I mean? Yeah, that looks real similar. So I think ETH is the play for sure, assuming we close something along the lines of this today. Could you see another bounce out of XRP? For sure. But I like ETH here. That's my opinion. What else do we have? Let's look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. I think this falls over. I don't know. I'm gonna go one other one. Look at this one. This is without the stable coins. And oh wow. So I like this one a little better just because it doesn't have the stable coins, and because we're in a bear market, the stable coins have just been a juggernaut. Look at this trend line going back to 21. And then also with the 200-day, it's just sitting there. I think something's about to rip in the altcoin space. think it's about to rip. You lost it here, you regained it. Lost it here, took a little bit more, regained it. And, it's just flattening out, turning over. We could easily dump. So I'm pretty bullish here. Ethereum and altcoins, especially Ethereum. Um, let's just look at the Litecoin Bitcoin doing pretty well. So keep an eye on that. I mean, you know, the day is young. This could easily be a wick and then higher. You never know. So I'm not giving up on Litecoin yet. Things can happen. We can regain this triangle, but as long as we're in this triangle or below it, ETH I think is the play. I mean, here's XLM ETH, just to kind of really show how Ethereum is doing. Um, let's just look at the Litecoin. See, here's the Litecoin chart. Still below, we made still below the highs of June and July, whereas ETH is above those highs. We got something similar. Um, One interesting little chart is Bitcoin SV. I just noticed we also have a downward kind of wedge channel, but I was interested in this 200-day moving average. It's just hugged the line, and sometimes you see that when it's so great. A close above this could really be a trend change. If you look, the last time we had closes above this line was 540 days ago. So I think that's something to really pay attention to if you want to take a risk on this coin. I mean, of course, it's absolute garbo, but close above that 200-day, and this thing could go off. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Looking at the order books, I like this a lot. I like that Bitcoin has showing a lot of buying. Just with everything, to be honest, we want to see that. ETH Bitcoin, we got above this kind of selling pressure, doing pretty good. ETH USD, also same thing. We had this selling, and now it's not seeing that. Litecoin Bitcoin, looking pretty good. Litecoin USD, which is more important. Okay, I'm seeing just a tad red, but you really don't want to see a lot of red on this chart. And then I like these little rising wedge, broke down, descending wedge, broke up. So I'm liking these wedges a lot recently. So yeah, that's all good. Let's see. Do we have anything else? XLM. Not very interesting. Monero, these charts are hard to read. XRP. Okay. The XRP has been seeing a lot of buying. So again, it would not surprise me to see a little bit of a pop out of XRP. I don't think it'll last forever, but it's known to do that. We're at the bottom of the range against ETH, so I could see that, but I'm expecting a pump out of ETH, possibly Litecoin, if it can catch some sort of bid somewhere. But also here we have that wedgy action. I'm sure I could put this further back or whatever. Some of these lines. Something like that, but I could easily see us pumping up into this 200, which would be a big move. But I think ETH is the better play right now. And again, we do have to wait. I wouldn't be surprised if this downtrend turns us over a little bit more. Um, I think we do. It's 30. Who knows? But I think I think sitting in ETH is a good idea right now. Waiting to see what Litecoin does. Some of these things. Let's look at the Litecoin XRP. So again, on the tops, getting rejected, a lot of doji candles in a row here, which is why I could see, this rolling over a tad while XRP ETH turns up. But it could also break down at any moment, like that one Bitcoin chart does. It just, once it keeps hitting this level, it's going to break eventually. We just don't know when. We have one more bounce in us. It's very possible. Who knows? Going back to Litecoin, Bitcoin. I'd love to see this break higher. That'd be interesting. And of course, I'd love to see us bounce off this today. Close above this trend line. And then let's just check out Tom Lee's B miner. This, I also have this in a big downward wedge from the summer, which is just essentially leveraged ETH, going on 9 months. I would want a close above this, so I'd be looking to enter at the end of day today, tomorrow, if I was interested in this asset. $15, all-time highs at 10 times as high. I don't know if it ever gets there again. I'm not a huge fan of these kind of assets like Strategy, Michael Chad Saylor. Is this Tom Chad Lee? Tom Chad Lee? But again, you have that. And this one's from October. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, I think that's all I got today. I guess play as Ethereum as of now until it's not. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Just a quick check on Bitcoin. So yeah, I think we proceed with Ethereum. Keep our eyes on Litecoin. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So, all right. Well, that's all I got. Let's go.